Hello girls and boys, and welcome to episode 3 of the Molly Dolly Show. Hello Molly. Hello Carmen. What have you got there in your hand? Oh, this is my letter that I wrote for Susie. Oh, are you going to show the girls and boys what your letter is? Sure. Maybe you can read it, Carmen. Okay. All right, well, I need to put you down. Is that okay? And I'll read your letter to the girls and boys. Is that all right? Yes. Okay, we'll sit you up there. Make sure the girls and boys can still see you. And I will read your letter. Hi, Susie. I'm so glad that we are friends. You are such a good friend. Sometimes I get scared to do things, but you always help me be brave. Yesterday, I made an awesome sauce cubby house in my bedroom. It was heaps of fun. I'm sitting in my cubby house now, writing this letter. How about we plan a scavenger hunt tomorrow? Love from your best friend forever, BFF, Molly. Kiss, kiss, kiss. Molly, your letter was lovely that you wrote to Susie. I'm really proud of you. How about you keep it there in your lap, if it doesn't fall away? And we read chapter 3 of the book to the girls and boys. Are you ready, girls and boys? This chapter is called A Precious Gift. Would you like to see upstairs? The king asked as he gestured towards the grand staircase. Oh, yes, of course, Molly answered with growing excitement. Molly walked up the staircase in step with the king, and Cook Henny followed behind. Molly ran her hand along the golden handrails, which had been polished to a shine. As they arrived on the landing, the king led Molly to a window. Look down there, he said, pointing to an inner courtyard below. Molly stood on tiptoe to get a better view. She saw what could only be described as a river pool. The pool weaved its way like a snake through the courtyard and out through a tunnel. See the brightly coloured boats tied up at this end, the king explained. Once you untie the rope, your boat will be pushed along in a current created by jets of air under the water. You'll travel around the bends and out through the tunnel. Oh my, she said slowly. What's on the other side of the tunnel? Well, there's only one way to find out. The king had barely finished his sentence when Molly ran off along the landing. She raced down a staircase into the courtyard and headed towards the pool. Molly couldn't believe her eyes when she saw the king waiting for her next to the boats. She shook her head in confusion and looked back up at the window. How did you get here before me? She asked, puffing. I can be everywhere at the same time, Molly. Molly tucked his answer away in her mind. She'd think about it later. Can I have a ride on one of the boats now? She asked while jigging up and down on the spot. Of course you can, he laughed. Cook Henny arrived in time to hear the king explain how to control the direction of the boats with the oars. Molly jumped into the yellow boat and pushed off. She was busting to see what lay on the other side of the dark tunnel. The sunlight blinded Molly's eyes as the boat exited the dark tunnel. Woohoo! Molly squealed with delight as her little boat slid down a small waterfall and splashed into a large swimming pool. Wow, that ride was incredible, Molly exclaimed. The king took her by the hand and helped her out of the boat. Molly, look over there. The king pointed to a table on the terrace set with a pink and white checked tablecloth. I hope you're feeling hungry, he grinned. As Molly walked to the table, cupcakes, sweet pies and pastries magically appeared. A special birthday cake also appeared in the centre of the table. Her name was written in chocolate icing. Tears of joy welled up in her eyes. No one ever got birthday cakes at the orphanage. Happy birthday, Molly, the king cheered. Let's enjoy your birthday lunch. Molly sat down on a chair the king had offered. Henrietta, would you please join us for lunch? He politely offered her a chair. Thank you, Your Majesty. It would be an honour. Cook Henny replied. This is such a treat. I've never seen so much food, Molly said excitedly. She could barely sit still. Turning to Cook Henny, she asked, Isn't this great, Cook Henny? But Cook Henny could only manage a nod. Her mouth was already stuffed full of chocolate cake. Molly grinned and managed to hold in a giggle. I have another surprise for you, Molly, the king said. Everyone knows that a birthday isn't complete without a present. Look under your chair. Molly bent down and spotted a white box with a pretty pink bow. She carefully slid it out and placed it in her lap. Go ahead, open it, the king encouraged with a big smile. Molly untied the ribbon and lifted the lid. She took in a quick breath. Nestled on soft pink tissue paper sat a pair of pretty white shoes and a pair of socks trimmed with pink lace. Molly's eyes filled with tears of joy as she stared at the shoes. Can this be real? Brand new shoes? For me? She was so overwhelmed she could barely speak. How did you know I needed shoes? Molly, I always know what you need. May I try them on? Molly whispered. Of course, the king chuckled. Molly quickly pulled the socks onto her feet, then took a good look at the shoes. They were the prettiest she had ever seen. She loved the little pink bows on top. Molly put on her new shoes. Her feet had been cold for so long, but now they were warm again, and her heart almost exploded with gratitude. Finally, someone has cared about me enough to give me what I really need. Thank you so much, Your Majesty, for my new shoes. This is the best gift ever. Together they spent the next hour enjoying lunch and telling funny stories. Cook Henny told a joke about a dog, a cat, and a flying fish that wore pink goggles so he would be protected from stingrays. Molly laughed so much her belly hurt. The king turned to Molly and surprised her with a question. It was a question she had never expected to hear. Molly, how would you feel about living here in the palace? Molly was stunned. She thought today was only a special birthday visit. Of course I'd love to visit again and play, she thought, but to live here? That was completely different. The king continued to explain. I'd like to adopt you, Molly, which means you'd become a member of the royal family, a princess. When she heard the word princess, Molly's eyes grew even wider. She turned to look up at the king. A princess? Really? Really, the king chuckled. She grinned. I've often dreamed of becoming a princess, but... Molly stopped mid-sentence. Questions started to fill her head as she tried to work out what she really wanted. What would Mr and Mrs Furrows say? Would she get lonely? Molly was a bit flustered because she couldn't make up her mind. She knew the king was waiting for an answer. Deep down she wanted to say yes, but she wasn't quite sure. Why did he want to adopt her? The king could sense her anxious thoughts, so he suggested, You don't need to decide right now. Go home and have a think about it. Come back in 1 month and let me know. Molly let out a huge sigh of relief. Thank you, Your Majesty. That sounds like a good plan. Molly and Cook Henny walked silently back to the orphanage. Molly had a huge decision to make, didn't she? And that's the end of chapter 3. So, Molly, got your letter still here? What are you going to do tomorrow? Well, I want to do a scavenger hunt with Susie. Now, that's a good idea. A very good idea. I hope you have a really good time planning it and doing that with Susie. Yes, we will. I'm going to take my letter now and I'm going to go and slip it under Susie's bedroom door. And then she'll wake up and she might see it in the morning. Yeah, she might. Or she might see it tonight. Yeah, she might. It's going to be so much fun. See you later, girls and boys, for chapter 4 tomorrow.